The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by ShootProof, the easy way to proof and sell your photos online.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they chat about the art and business of photography.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 142, and I'm Joseph Christina. On last week's episode, we discussed the Sigma DP Quattro, Sony a6000, Canon's T5 and G1, as well as looked at the amazing Blackmagic 4K video camera. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com, in iTunes, listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox music apps, or watch in HD on TiVo. It's all right, guys. It's another week 142. It's amazing. Time is going by. Quick update. Trevor's doing really well. Only a few more treatments to go. He's doing great. He's probably lost maybe about 20 pounds, which isn't too bad considering all the radiation, the therapy, and everything that's going on with him. So, but he's feeling good. He's at that end point, where you can actually see the finish line, and you're almost there. And it's like, yes, we're going to make it through this, and it's going to be done. So he should be back very, very soon. So thanks again for all those well wishes, and just keep them coming because it does help out a lot. Anyway, so last week, it was our week for CP Plus and cameras. We talked about a lot of camera bodies and what was cool about them, what wasn't cool, what was new, what was innovative, and what was just the same old, same old. So this week, we're going to get into more of the lenses, the camera lenses that were talked about, some new lenses that even weren't talked about. We're going to start out with that, and then we're going to move into habits, some terrible habits that are affecting the success of our photography business, and just look at a few of them and kind of address them. And maybe some of these things you'll see in yourself. I know some of these I found that I do that I'm going to try fixing also. So, but anyways, before we get into all that, I want to kind of put out there like a little PSA, a little public service announcement. So we know that the majority of you guys are using Apple products, because we've done some research on that in the past. We've done polls and whatnot. But so Apple right now has a major problem with a security hole in their iOS. And they just patched it a couple of days ago. So if you don't know about it, if you haven't heard about it, I want to kind of put it out there to you guys so that you know what's going on and you know what to do to kind of secure your data, secure yourself, so to speak. So the effects is on SSL and TLS. And basically those are protocols that are used by the internet for transacting secure data. That's that's the gist of it. Let's say. So the way that this hack works, it kind of circumvents that, and it allows the hackers to gain access to that secure data and then either just take it or manipulate it and re-inject it. So this is extremely, extremely problematic. So you think about, well, what is the SSL stream? What is the SSL protocol? How do I know that I'm using it or whatever? Whenever you go to, for example, let's say eBay, or you go to your bank and you see at the top of the screen, it says HTTPS : instead of just HTTP : that S stands for secure. And chances are the data that's being transacted between you and that party is secure data and is going through SSL, which that's the current form. TLS is an older form. So anyways, regardless, this protocol is what is currently being used for securing data. And this is obviously, like I was saying, is what's being circumvented. So the issue is kind of, it's grave in a way, because people are losing their account information. They're able to, let's say they're logged into a bank, and now the people can spy on their password, their account information, and a lot of the other stuff. So Apple came up with a fix, and anyone that's running iOS right now chances are your device will pop up and say, hey, we have an update. It's update 7.0.6. You need to update. Do so, and do so immediately. The problem here is, yes, you can do that for your iOS device, but what has been found is that the Mac OS X also has the exact same exploit in it. And there's a big conspiracy theory going on currently that's saying that this has got to be an inside job, because how is it that this problem is in both the OS X as well as the iOS platform? They're not being worked in simultaneously, by the same people. I don't get it. And I understand how this theory is out there, that there's got to be someone on the inside that has injected this, or that's caused this hole, this gaping hole in security. But I don't know. That's yet to be seen. I'm sure they're doing a ton of investigation. But remember, even though you can secure your phone and your iPad and any of other of your iDevices, you cannot currently secure your computer. If you're running OS X, not the latest version of OS X, which is 10.9, you're vulnerable. And the problem is there's no fix currently for it. So you can't go to Apple and say, I need the fix. Currently, what is it, 10.9.1? I need 10.9.2. It doesn't exist. So what you need to do to be safe here is, number one, of course, download the latest iOS for your phone. But number two, if you're using, let's say, I don't know, like I do, I use a MacBook Air on a regular basis. Well, if I go and take that to Panera, or if I go take that to Starbucks, I need to realize or know that since I'm connecting to that insecure network, I am vulnerable. So if I'm in that situation, I'm not going to access anything that can be detrimental to me. I'm not going to make a purchase on eBay. I'm not going to log into my bank. I'm not going to log into my PayPal account. I'm not going, so just be cognizant that this is going on, and be careful on what you're doing. The one saving grace here is, even though Safari is being affected, Mail is being affected, Message is being affected, Twitter is being affected on your PC, on your Apple, what is not being affected is Mozilla Firefox, as well as Chrome. So if you need to go make that purchase on eBay and you have your laptop and you're sitting in Starbucks, I would say it'd be pretty safe if you load up Chrome and go and make that purchase. But honestly, for me, even though this is the case, or they say that this vulnerability is not in those two browsers, just play it safe. If you need to make an order, you need to log into your bank, do it at home. Do it under a secure environment, a secure network, and don't do it in any of the coffee shops. Bottom line. Anyways, we got a lot more for you this week. Hang in there. We're going to take a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors.
As photographers, we're always trying to increase sales and profits after every event.
We shoot an event and have hundreds or even thousands of images that just sit on our hard drives.
Perhaps a better workflow would increase sales by getting those valuable images in front of the client.
That's where ShootProof comes in. At shootproof.com, you can have an online gallery for all of your clients' proofing needs.
ShootProof helps increase profits while building your brand and securing your photos without charging commission fees on sales.
ShootProof galleries display your photos beautifully while helping to streamline your workflow and automate more of your business through their intuitive studio control panel.
Once approved, photos can be directly fulfilled through ShootProof's various professional lab partners or fulfilled by you.
All ShootProof plans have the same feature set. You simply choose the number of client photos stored, decide what products to sell, and the price.
Try ShootProof today by taking advantage of their free 30-day trial offer.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, ShootProof is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans by using promo code DPC20 at checkout.
ShootProof. Upload, share, sell, print.
Sorry, guys, we are back. So I know I said that we're just going to simply talk about lenses, but I lied. We're going to talk about one camera. And this camera is just dear to my heart. Now, as a fashion photographer, I used to do magazine covers years and years ago when I first came out of the Art Institute. And that was like my thing. And I love medium format. We used to shoot medium format film camera. One of the cameras I shot on a regular basis was a Pentax 645. If anyone knows what that is a medium format. It shoots 120 or 220 film, and it is a beautiful camera. Absolutely love the camera. The lenses were fabulous. The camera was fabulous. I was able to slap on an old Polaroid back. So that's how we used it. We didn't have a screen to look on the back and say, oh no, that exposure is completely off. Oh, I want to move that light a little bit to the right or what. Yeah, no, we didn't have that. So we'd throw on our Polaroid back. We'd take the photograph, pull out the Polaroid, wait for it to develop and say, yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and change that light just a little bit and we're good. Shoot it one more time, look at the Polaroid. Yep, that's perfect. Boom. Put in the regular film and shoot away, and we knew that we got our light perfect. So that's what we used to do. Well, Pentax has got the brand new 645 on the market. They originally had the 645D was the digital version, and now they have the D, but 2. So it's the 645, Pentax 645D2. What an amazing CMOS-based medium format camera. Absolutely love. Can I afford it? Probably not. But it is amazing. 40 to 50 megapixels is what is said is going to be at the release date, what you're going to be able to shoot with this thing. Medium format, 40 to 50 megapixels is just crazy. If you guys know, if you've ever shot medium format, just think about, your 35 millimeter, let's say, is about, let's say, 1.25 inches, maybe an inch, let's say a little bit more than an inch, just 35 millimeter. Think about medium format. It's like, 4 of those. It's just huge. So there's a ton of data. One of the fashion shoots that I did, I ended up shooting a 5D Mark II, and I also shot a Hasselblad on the project. And I did that on purpose. The Hasselblad was for obviously professional stuff that we did for magazine and for the fashion, for them to use for the magazine and whatnot. But also for the fashion designer. But I shot the 5D Mark II to do a direct comparison between a full frame and a medium format digital camera. And the disparity is just night and day. When you look at a medium format, you look at the density, you can zoom in at the same distance and, 10 times the amount and look at the clarity between what the 5D Mark II was getting in comparison to the medium format. Is just like night and day. So anyways, this camera shoots at an amazing 3 frames per second. Obviously it's slow. Maximum ISO is about 100,000 to 200,000. Don't even believe any of that. That's just completely preposterous. They could say that all they want. I mean, you're not going to shoot up there. Regardless, the shutter life I find really odd here is 100,000 clicks. 100,000 clicks. I mean, that's like, just like a Canon 7D type of numbers. I don't know. You would think that they would be able to get that shutter to be able to last a little bit longer than that, because that's not a lot at all. Me with like well in excess of 1 million pictures in the can. Imagine how many times I would have to send this thing in for repair. I mean, that's kind of a little crazy. But regardless, supposedly it has live view under the movie mode. It does have a USB 3. I love that. To be able to shoot tethered. USB 3 is extremely fast, and you'll be able to probably see just live video coming out of that without even any kind of problem with that speed. The price. Okay, guys. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to afford this, but $10K. That's the number. Just over $10,000. Wow. So they're looking at the middle of April, but just think about that $10K. You can get, as of today, on eBay, the camera that I used to use that was like just an amazing camera, the Pentax 645 with a 120 and a 220 back on it, not with the Polaroid back, but with the single back, for about $300, maybe $400. And I'm telling you, the quality that would come out of that, you can blow that up the size of the wall. You'd be like, oh my God. And that's on a piece of film. So this is the difference between, film and digital, is as the digital stuff comes out and it's new and it's bigger and bigger and bigger and the sensors are bigger and bigger, the price tag is so great that, you could very easily go and grab a film camera and be able to make similar, if not as good, pictures with it for a fraction of the cost if you just can wait to get those pictures back. So anyways, if you have a couple $100, go take a look at the Pentax 640 online on eBay or something. Grab that and go play. You'd be amazed on what you get out of that film camera. Anyway, so that is the Pentax 645D2. Love it, love it. I had to bring that up. Anyway, back in keeping with the Pentax, their Q series, very impressed with. It's an ultra compact, interchangeable. They came out with it's called the Q08, and it's a wide zoom lens. The equivalent focal length is, I think it's 17 by up to 27, I think, somewhere on there. It's $600. Very, very nice lens. I like Pentax lenses anyways, but this is a really, really nice lens, brand new. On the Canon side, Canon's come up with a 200 to 400 straight lens. I don't want no meandering, you know that. So it's a straight f4 L lens, IS. So it's image stabilization is in it. And what's kind of interesting is it has a built-in extender. I've never seen this before. It has a built-in 1.4 extender. So, like a teleconverter built in, which is like, that's kind of odd. It's heavy, monstrosity, $1,700. Not too bad for an f4 that will get you out there to 400 millimeters. You throw that on to a crop sensor, you'll probably be close to 5.5 to 600 millimeters. Really, really nice for outdoor photography, for capturing wildlife and whatnot, because you do have that straight 4 as far as your f-stop. I like that a lot. Not bad, not bad. And the price is really right. So moving on, Canon. This is probably my absolute favorite lens. You will not see me without this lens if I'm covering an event, if I'm doing a wedding, if I'm doing a model shoot. The 24 to 70 is by far my absolute favorite. That as well as the 7200, my favorite lens. And they came out obviously with the second version of that a while back. Kind of want to bring that up. It is for a full frame sensor, and it is amazing, amazing lens. Absolutely love it. The pictures that come out of that thing is just amazing. It's looking at, it's not cheap. You're looking at about $2,200. So you're going to pay for it. Whenever you buy manufacturer lens, you're going to pay extra for it in comparison to a third party. That doesn't mean that the manufacturer lenses are better, or the third parties are worse. But if you buy your manufacturer's glass, you're going to pay more. So $2,200. That's a 24 to 70, 2.8 straight lens. That's 2.8 right across the board. And it is version 2, the latest and greatest. So ultra sharp, definitely ultra sharp images on that. Next, Canon's this one is a monster. It's a Canon 500 millimeter f4, also IS. This is a 2, the second version of this. Now this is a monster, but now listen to the price: $10,300. Yeah, $10,300. I don't know. You would really have to make some serious cash at what you're shooting to be able to afford a 10K lens. Now I know sports photographers, they have $20,000, $30,000 lenses that are size of bazookas, that are on the sidelines, but they're getting paid bank. Or the press corp or whoever they're shooting for is paying bank for those lenses and they're just using them, whatever the case might be. But I tell you what, you take that 200 to 400 that I was telling you about earlier, and that's also a straight f4, also IS, with the extender in there, and you throw it on a crop, you're going to be over this 500 that's with this lens at $1,700. And obviously you're probably not going to get as high a quality as this monstrosity, but you're definitely going to get the focal length out of it, and you'll be able to reach out there and touch someone or touch something with it. So moving forward, the absolute sharpest lens by far, I think, ever, and this is like this. There's been so many reviews, and it's the Otis lens by Zeiss. This lens is just amazing. It's a 1.4 55 straight millimeter lens, and wow. I mean, there's nothing else you can say about this lens. If you have the money, the lens is $4,000. This thing, you would be amazed. There's been so many reviews when this thing came out, and every single review or every single reviewer says this is by far the sharpest glass I've ever seen ever, period. So anyways, that's a Zeiss Otis 1.4. Now you can imagine a 1.4. At a 50, 55, what an amazing portrait lens would this be, right? On a full frame sensor. Anyways, 4K. If you got the money, this is definitely a lens for you. And it's Zeiss. You would have this for a lifetime. And chances are this glass right here would probably appreciate instead of depreciate. So moving forward, Tamron. I like Tamron. I am a fan of Tamron. I do have some Tamron glass. They do have sometimes some QC issues in comparison to Canon as far as the glass goes, but there is a price disparity between the Canon glass or even the Nikon glass to the Tamron, and I think that they are pretty close at this point as far as the quality goes, image quality. Build is always the thing that you can sit and discuss, but the quality that comes out of it. So Tamron comes out with the new SP 150 to 600. Now this is the meanderer. Don't like it, but it is what it is. It's a f 5.6 to 6.3. Now that's only about a stop and a half, couple stops. It's not that much that it's meandering around, but it kind of is what it is. You could use it on a full frame or, of course, on an APS-C sensor. It does have it is a VC. Does have the vibration correction built into it, and it's extremely silent at autofocus. That is very important. I can't stand, you get some of the cheaper glass and you hear zzz, 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 every time you're locking in, locking out, locking out. It gets to be annoying after a while. And second to that is only the loud shutter clacking is another thing that I can't stand. Anyway, so this new Tamron, once again, SP 150 to 600, and you're looking at $1,100. Not too bad. The new Tamron 70 to 200 came out. Like I said, second favorite piece of glass. A piece of glass that's with me no matter where I go is the 70 to 200. I use the Canon. This is the Tamron version. You're going to spend about $1,000 less for it, or pretty close to that. And it's the brand new version. So it's a 70 to 200 f 2.8. So it's straight 2.8. Love that. Also VC. And you use it, of course, on the APS-C as well as a full frame sensor. It's $1,500, but for what you're getting in comparison to spending $2,200, $2,500, $2,600 for the Canon glass or a Nikon glass of the same 70 to 200, the images that come out of this, I would say, are equal. They are right there. You would have to sit there with a loop and do a pixel evaluation to be able to tell the difference. And for $1,000 less, if you don't have the money and you want a really good portrait lens, I love the 70 to 200s. They are a fun lens to use. And remember, the 2.8 is a little bit heavy. If you do not have a problem with lighting and you're going to use this lens continuously outdoors or in a studio with perfect lighting conditions, you might want to opt for the f4 version of any kind of 70 to 200 because it's a lot lighter, and sometimes the f4 is slightly sharper. Anyways, moving on. Another 70 to 200, this time in the Sony arena. So it is an FE 70 to 200 f4. Once again, it's a straight f4 like that. Doesn't meander around. Telephoto, same exact type of lens as a Canon or a Nikon 70 to 200. Same thing as the Tamron that we were just talking about. But in the f4, it's not a 2.8 on the Sony side. So really nice. It's for the full frame, for the alpha. You can put on the mirrorless interchangeable. Is basically what it's for, and it's $1,500. Really interesting because that is a hell of a lens for $1,500 also. But remember, the Tamarind for the same price, $1,500, gives you a 2.8, which is a ton more glass compared to a F4. So to me, I mean, if you were going the Sony route, you're kind of stuck with Sony, and Sony you're going to pay a premium for the major, the manufacturer glass. So it is kind of what it is. But you can see the disparity between the two. The Tamarind glass, for the same price, you're going to get a 2.8 straight compared to a 4.0 straight. So, and it's the same thing with Canon. But anyways, not bad. That's a lot of glass, a lot of stuff for you guys to go and take a look at. And the one thing that I've always said is glass is where you want to place your money. Do not buy the latest and greatest body, because bodies are like toilet paper. They come and go. You flush them down. You go get more. You go get another body. But the glass is a lifetime. You really want to invest in your glass and take your body, and you kind of push that to the side. If you pick up a body every 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you're doing okay, especially at this point. But glass, you keep that forever. Anyways, before we go any further, let's go ahead and hear from one more of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener.
All right, guys, we are back. So kind of the ending of the show here, I want to talk about something that's photography oriented, photography business oriented, or just business in general. I was reading an amazing article this week that talked about habits, and the habits that are holding us back to from succeeding in our business. Period. It doesn't matter photographic or whatever your business is. And so I pulled a couple of these topics out because some of them really hit home, and I figured some of these would probably hit home for you guys too. So I want to kind of get into that a little bit. Instead of, we've been doing gear. This is more on the business and things that maybe that can help us to make us, quote unquote, better at business and making money. So the first one is really interesting. It's, we always think about, let's say you're doing a project and you say to yourself, it's not the right time, or we're waiting for that right moment, or I don't have just the amount of money as of yet. Once again, it's not the right time. Oh, I don't have enough money, or maybe I need to wait a little bit longer, or maybe I need to see what this other guy is doing before I do what I'm going to do because I don't want to do what he's doing. There's always this constant flux back and forth of why, you should do something, but you don't do it because it's not the right moment or right time. So they quote this proverb, this old Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. And I really take that to heart, because so many times I'm doing a project and I'm working at, constructing the project, and I'm doing it, and then it's kind of half done and I just never finish it because it's like, oh, well, I'm going to spend this, or I'm going to do that, or should I put that extra time into it? Is it the right time to do this, or should I wait? Just get it done. Now is the right time. Now, right now. I like that. That is a habit that I have that I need to break myself. So moving on. So I find this very, very interesting and very apropos on what's going on. As far as, we all have like an ego, right? And all too often, we're always looking for someone to kind of like stroke that ego. We're always looking for that approval of that significant other, or the photo community, or other people that are close to us. We're always looking for that pat on the back, that stroking the ego, that because that's just the nature of the beast. That's how we are. And all too often we are feeding that ego. And, we need to remember not to mix up, what's good for the ego and what's good for our productivity, or what's good for our ego and what's good for our production, our making of money, our success. So, many times we look for praise, and where do we look? We ask the people that are close to us. We're like, oh, so what do you think about this? What are they going to do? Are they going to say, oh, that's absolutely awful? Well, a really good friend will say that is absolutely shites, right? But most of their friends and family will be like, oh, that's wonderful. Oh my God, you are a god. You are the photographer extraordinaire. You are amazing. I have never seen photography that good. And that constant stroking, that really doesn't help us at all. That constant approval, that tapping on the back, So what I tried to do is I try to find friends, or at least one, that will be completely honest with me. And I'll say, listen, this is my idea. What do you think? Or this is my photograph. What do you think about this? And get just kind of a straight opinion. And who those people are that are close to you, that are close, that are in your circle, that you can say, listen, right now I want you to be completely honest with me. I don't want no smoke. I don't want you to, blow smoke. No rainbows. I want you to tell me the truth. Find those people and use those people to help you become better. Very, very important. And at that point, you need to know that they're going to tell you the truth. And maybe the truth is not exactly what you want to hear, but it's going to help you become better at whatever it is that you do. So, we talk about this. I've talked to Trevor about this in the past. And we've talked about this on the show in the past. And the whole idea of being perfect. And, my motto has always been, and I've told you guys this before, that mediocrity is basically dead. You either be stellar or you be nothing. And I'm very much a proponent of that. And I keep that as a motto. And I've said that for many, 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 many years. And I try to stick by it. But that perfectionism sometimes is crippling. Okay. You need to know when to say when. Striving for excellence, is important, and it's what we need to do. But we also need to deliver. And if we're being crippled, we're being, our time is being used to perfect something that doesn't need to be perfected, we need to look at it and stop. And this happens many times to a lot of us that have come from film, that have now in digital, and we have these beautiful new dark rooms. And the dark rooms are these beautiful monitors that are just, color corrected. They look amazing. We have the latest and greatest version of Photoshop or Lightroom, and it's just unbelievable. And we can do a billion things with our photographs. And what do? We do a billion things with our photographs, and that's the problem. We continuously edit when we don't need to edit any longer. And we've talked about this in shows before, and it's about time management. It's about knowing when to say when, and it's delivering to your client what they require and maybe a little bit more and no more than that. Okay? That means that if you are editing for a 4x6, do your edit for a 4x6 and not a poster size image, because you don't need to. This happens so many times with people that do knockouts, that are doing cutouts, that are doing green screen. And they'll go in there and they will edit every single hair, every hair. And then later to find out that it's going to be placed on the net at a 640 size or a 720, that all of that work is for naught, because you can't even see. You wouldn't even know that they did all that work on those hairs. So edit for the size or edit for the project that you're doing. And don't go past that. Time is money. And perfectionism sometimes is crippling. Anyways, this is another idea, and I like this a lot too. It's giving too much respect. And that kind of sounds weird, but all too often we hold onto a pedestal photographers, let's say, that we just idolize. Maybe business analysts or just people around us, or maybe the president or whoever. But we need to realize that everyone makes mistakes, right? Even the greatest. And by holding them up on that pedestal and trying to walk their walk and trying to go down their route really holds us back. And this has happened all too often. I know it's happened to me in the past when I first started doing photography. And what I would do is I would emulate the people that I absolutely love, and I would copy their style. Now, that's fine when you first start. But as you grow as a photographer, you need to stop emulating and start innovating. You need to start coming up with your own visions. You need to come up with your own style and run with that. You cannot continuously hold up that person and follow down their path. That happens a perfect example of that is HDR. We know when HDR came out, there was a handful. We can all recite the people that were in the mix of it. A handful of maybe 3 or 4 people that were the big HDR proponents, and they made wonderful images with it. So what happened? All of these photographers held them up on the pedestal. They started emulating and duplicating and replicating what they did. They weren't doing a good job at it. And what did we have? We had this period of time of the most disgusting images, like known to man, the grossest images that were put together doing HDR, people that shouldn't be doing HDR that are just, they were hideous, following down that hype train, you know? Well, the best thing that we can do, and the best that I can do, and the best that you can do, is find your path and follow down that path. Find your voice, find your vision, find your method of photography, your style, and stick to it. And grow that style instead of following other people. Anyways, another one that I found interesting is, letting go and being stubborn and too stubborn to let go. I'm that guy. I'm the guy that buys the stock and looks at the stock market and sees it's on a downswing. And like a bowling ball, holds on to that stock until it goes crashing to the floor. And then once that bowling ball is crashed to the floor, I will continue to hold that bowling ball because I think for some reason it's going to go back up. And that bowling ball is never going to come back up. Too stubborn to let go. Grit, tenacity, perseverance is all, incredible qualities to have. But we need to know when to let go. And that means also letting go of projects. All too often, we find ourselves in these projects and we look at it and we're like, oh my God, this is just not going well. And being able to say, you know what, I can't do it. Or move on to something else. It's very difficult to do. We're too stubborn to do it. And something similar to this happened to me, and I talked about it probably about 2 years ago, and I called it divorcing clients. And it's the idea of having clients that are so needy that you really need to divorce them. The time that it takes, right, to facilitate, to appease, to continuously change, to fight over money, to constantly request money and not get it. This constant strife, even if it's a big client that just pains you to have to divorce them, you need to do it. Can't be too stubborn. You need to let go. It's very, very important. So, I talked about that now years ago, and here we're talking about it again. That time that it would take for continuously appeasing and working at making this client happy that will never be happy. You can take that time to, let's say, develop new connections with new clients, or possibly even take that time to foster this stronger relationships with the clients you currently have, right? So something to think about. Don't be stubborn. When it's time to let go of a project, let go. When it's time to let go of a client, let them go. Very, very important. Next, the idea of a plateau, a contentment plateau, a period of time when we say, oh, I'm there. I got it. This is perfect. That's the time of failure. That's a time when we no longer grow. That's the time when we feel content and we're comfortable and we no longer innovate. We constantly are making the exact same photos all the time. And you know who you are. I've done it myself. You work, let's say, in a studio and you have your light set up in this perfect 3-point lighting and you guys stick to it and you never change it. Why? Because it works. That contentment. is stifling. It's a big problem. You need to stop. Take that lighting down, disassemble it, and change it up, because you don't want to go and show a portfolio and every single person in that portfolio looks the same. Why? Because they're lit identically the same. It is a problem. That contentment plateau, very, very important. These are, that's probably one of those problems that many of us fall into, that can be, corrected in a moment. By the time you're done listening to this podcast, or you're done watching the TV and watching the show, you can immediately say, you know what? All right, I'm going to change the light, or I'm going to change something, whatever it is. Many people do this also in editing. They'll go into Lightroom. Either they'll get other people's plugins, or they'll create their own little setup, and they will do the exact same thing to the images over and over and over. Now you can say, well, I'm developing a style. Well, that's fine. But are you becoming complacent? Are you developing complacency? Are you no longer innovating? Are you're doing the exact same thing over and over? Is that because this is just your style and that's what you want to do? I applaud you. That's fine if that's the case. But if you're just being, kind of weak-minded, and you're doing the same thing just to do it and get through it, this is probably not the field for you. As a photographer, we are there as artists, and we are there to create. We are continuously creating. We are creative people. When we do the exact same thing over and over habitually, it is stifling. Don't do it. Move on. So anyways, to finalize, I found this quote at the end of this article, and I think it's wonderful. It's by Samuel Johnson, and it simply says, "The chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they are too strong to be broken." Once again, the chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they are too strong to be broken. What an amazing, amazing statement that is. Anyways, guys, we hope that you enjoyed the show. Once again, thanks for keeping that all that positive feedback coming in for the show, as well as Trevor while he's on his hiatus doing his treatments. If you want to get a hold of either one of us, you can do so through Twitter. You can find Trevor at Trevor Current, myself at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H. You can get all the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/142. And don't forget to send all your questions and comments to comments@digitalphotographycafe.com, or simply call 440-345-6707. Once again, that's 440-345-6707, and we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe Show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Be sure to subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or through RSS. You can also